What is time? You ever thought about it? We all know what it is and we all experience it, but do we truly know what time is? I want to challenge you to forget everything you think you know about time, because I'm about to blow your mind. I'm about to prove to you that subjective time is in fact not real and is nothing more than a mere logical paradox. According to the Stanford University, Newton's law states that matter cannot occupy the same place at the exact same time. That means no one person has the same view or position as another. One person's view does not necessarily mean it's going to be another person's view. That means somebody's past could actually be somebody's future, such as somebody going through a traffic light. The person that goes through the traffic light, the light's in their past, but another person, the light's in their future. So my major premise on this would be occupying the same, it would be if real means the logical paradox, my minor would be occupying the same space would negate time's existence. So the logical conclusion is subjective time is not real. And according to the Stanford Encyclopedia on Philosophy on John McTaggart, McTaggart is considered one of the men at the forefront of this concept on time. He suggests that time could be broken down into two classifications, the A series and the B series. The A series proclaims that events have true absolute properties such as your past, present, and your future. However, he didn't like this because as something passed from one stage to another, because of change, it could therefore have two properties. You could have a future past tense or a past present. And therefore, because something could possess two properties, it would negate and not allow for it to be real. The B series is one big lump sum. Basically, it says time encompasses all. And the B series, the problem is it didn't allow for change. Therefore, the series A, my major would be real means having an absolute property, a past, future, and present. My minor would be that events in the series A may possess two properties at the same time. So my conclusion is subjective time is not real in series A. And my series B major would be real means allowing for change. My minor is series B does not allow for change. So my conclusion is that subjective time is not real in series B as well. Now, the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy on Time, McTaggart said that time can exist in either A series or B series. So therefore, we can assume that since subjective time is in fact not real because it can't exist in either one of those. And my major premise on that would be real time can only be in A or B series. Minor, real time does not exist in either A or B series. My conclusion, subjective time is unreal and does not exist. Some people may not agree on what I've said so far. That's fine. Everybody has their opinion. For instance, one might say time is a reality and we all live within it. Not true. Not necessarily true, because the PBS documentary, Stephen Hawking's A Grand Design, The Meaning of Life, on PBS, no two people experience and perceive time the exact same way. Maybe time is how our brain breaks down and makes sense of reality. Because Stephen Hawking suggests that the brain not only is responsible for the reality we perceive, but for the reality that we perceive, but that it gives meaning and emotion to it as well. Also, one might say events will happen in my future and have happened in my past. Well, true. Events did happen, but that doesn't necessarily mean that time is real. What about our present? Can something be presently in our future? If that's the case, we've already talked about it, because we can't have two properties at the exact same time. You can't have a future presence or a past futurity. And you have what's called the second order temporal properties, make it impossible for an event to have 2 points at the exact same time. One might say, if the B series is possible, then what about time travel? That means time travel is possible if B series is true. We all know time travel is not possible. Because think about it. If somebody went back in time, they could kill their grandfather. But if you kill your grandfather, the grandson would cease to exist at that very moment. So therefore, because he would cease to exist, he couldn't go back in time to kill his grandfather. That wouldn't allow for change. Also, one might say time is measurable, and this alone proves the existence. Not necessarily. The PBS show Our Space and Time and Illusion. The idea of time is all about relationships between two things and their effects upon one another. The formula space-time interval. That is, you take two people and you place them at two different points, at two different distances, and they do the exact same event. According to the space-time travel, they would do the exact same event in the same time. So there must be something that we agree about. And since we can't agree on the past, present, future, time, or distance, we must agree on something. And that something is causality. And causality is nothing more than a relationship between the cause and the effect. In turn, since the first part of the event, the beginning, affects the second part of the event, the end, and this will lead us that time doesn't influence causality, but actually causality influences time. So, what if I have an opponent, and my opponent says, I am currently in the present, and have a past and a future, and I haven't experienced yet, then time must be real. Not necessarily. Just because one has a perceived thought and having a past, present, and future does not constitute for a logical reasoning for time. McTaggart argued one's past is another one's future. And Newton's law also stated that two people cannot have the same place at the exact same time. And there's a disagreement of where everybody is. And because of this disagreement, this negates the reality of time. True? Finally, one might say, I have a clock and it tells me what time is. Therefore, because it can tell me, time must be real. A clock is nothing more than a symbol, a reference to defined standards. Discover Magazine article, Newsflash, Time May Not Exist, states that the National Institute of Standards houses the clock that standardizes the time for the nation. When asked if their clock measures time accurately, they responded very profoundly. Our clocks do not measure time. Time is defined to be what our clocks measure. The hands of the clock is nothing more than a physical symbol representing what we cannot see. Really, we see variables interacting with other variables, and we represent this as evolving in time. Although time is not real and theoretically operates within a logical paradox, the idea of it allows to give us order and structure to everything around us. So time is not real, and merely nothing more than a concept, a logical paradox. Maybe McTaggart said it best when he said, the only way time can be real is if it existed.